Lydia peered out of the shuttle's window as it descended through the swirling mists of Zela Prime. Beside her, her son, Max, pressed his face against the cool glass, his eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Look, Mom. Everything's so different," Max whispered, his breath fogging up the glass. Lydia smiled and ruffled his hair. "That's the adventure, isn't it? A whole new world, literally." The shuttle landed with a gentle thud on the landing pad of Yin District, one of the more human-friendly zones on Zela Prime. As they disembarked, a brisk wind greeted them, carrying unfamiliar scents and the distant sounds of the bustling alien city. Lydia adjusted her bag on her shoulder and took Max's hand as they headed towards the immigration checkpoint. The officer, a towering Yithran with shimmering blue skin, eyed them curiously. "Purpose of visit," the officer's voice boomed, his translator device garbling the Zalarian words into English. "Relocation," Lydia replied, handing over their documents. "I'm here for a job." "Hopefully." The Yithran nodded, stamping their papers with a grunt. "Welcome to Zela Prime. Keep your documents handy. Registration for Earth immigrants is straight ahead." As they walked through the bustling terminal, Lydia noticed the diversity of beings around them: creatures with tentacles, beings covered in fur, and robotic entities all mingled together. Max squeezed her hand, his previous excitement now dampened by the overwhelming new environment. "Mom, do you think we'll fit in here?" he asked, looking up at her. Lydia squeezed back, trying to sound more confident than she felt. "We'll make it work. We always do." They reached the registration desk, where a human man greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome to Zela Prime. I'm Dave, part of the Terrafirm Integration Assistance Program. I'll be helping you settle in." Lydia felt a wave of relief. "Thank you, Dave. I'm Lydia, and this is Max. It's our first time off Earth." Dave nodded, typing something into his computer. "I can imagine it's quite a change. Don't worry, you'll find Zela Prime to be full of opportunities. What brings you here exactly?" Lydia shared her hopes of securing a job in her field of tech development, which had proven difficult back on Earth as a single mother. Dave listened intently, offering words of encouragement. "I know a few tech companies that are actually eager to hire humans," Dave revealed as he handed Lydia some pamphlets. "Humans bring a unique perspective, and some of our local tech leaders value that. There's a company, Ilara Tech, you might look into. The CEO is quite progressive." "Really? That sounds perfect. Could you help me get an interview?" Lydia asked, her spirits lifting slightly. "Sure thing," Dave replied, pulling out his communicator. "I know someone who can help us. Meanwhile, let's get you and Max to your new home and you can start getting settled." As they left the immigration center, Lydia felt a cautious hope. Zela Prime was daunting, yes, but it also hummed with potential. Beside her, Max's grip loosened, his curiosity rekindling as he took in the sights and sounds of their new home. "Mom, do you think they have soccer here?" he asked. Lydia laughed, grateful for his resilience. "Let's find out. And if they don't, maybe you can teach them." Together, they followed Dave into the heart of their new life, ready to face whatever challenges and adventures awaited. Chapter 2. The Interview. Lydia spent the night before the interview revising notes and researching Ilara Tech, determined to make a strong impression. She explained to Max that tomorrow could be a big day for them, a step towards stability and new opportunities. Morning arrived with the alien sun casting a soft glow through their apartment windows. Lydia dressed carefully, choosing a professional yet culturally neutral outfit. Max helped her pick out a blazer, ensuring she looked her best. "Mom, you're going to do great," Max said, his encouragement bringing her a sense of calm. "Thanks, buddy. How about you?" Ready for your first day at the local school? Lydia asked, adjusting his collar. Yeah, I think so. Dave said they have kids from all over the galaxy. It'll be cool, Max replied, though his voice wavered slightly with anxiety. Lydia dropped Max off at school, where Dave met them to help with the introduction. Leaving her son in good hands, she took a deep breath and headed to Ilaratech. Upon arriving, Lydia was greeted at the front desk by a friendly human, Tom, who seemed eager to assist her. You must be Lydia. I'm Tom, the assistant to the CEO. Ilara's looking forward to meeting you. Let me take you to her office. As they walked through the sleek corridors of Ilaratech, Lydia admired the fusion of human and alien technologies. Screens displayed multiple languages, and employees of various species collaborated harmoniously. Ilara has built something special here, Tom noted, seeing Lydia's interest. She values diverse perspectives. It's refreshing, especially on Zila Prime. Lydia nodded, her nerves easing slightly. I've read about her work. It's quite impressive. They reached a large door that slid open silently, revealing a spacious office with a panoramic view of the city. A tall figure stood by the window, her back turned. As they entered, she turned around, her appearance strikingly elegant. Ilara, the CEO, was an alien with luminous skin and graceful movements. Lydia, welcome. I'm Ilara, she said, her voice smooth with a slight hum, characteristic of her species. Tom, thank you. Tom excused himself, leaving Lydia alone with Ilara. Please, have a seat. Ilara gestured to a chair across from her desk. As Lydia sat, Ilara continued, I've reviewed your application. Your experience is quite extensive. What brings you to Zila Prime? Lydia shared her story, carefully articulating her desire to contribute to a forward-thinking company like Ilaratech. I'm here because I believe in the potential of integrating different worldviews to create innovative solutions. I hope to bring my background in tech development to your team. Ilara listened intently, her eyes reflecting a thoughtful demeanor. Your journey is compelling. It's not easy to start anew, especially in a place as diverse as Zila Prime. Tell me, what do you think you can bring to Ilaratech that is unique? Lydia outlined her ideas on human-centric design principles that could enhance user interface technologies for both human and alien users, suggesting ways these could be integrated with Ilaratech's current projects. I'm impressed, Ilara smiled. Your perspective is exactly what we need. Diversity isn't just about filling quotas. It's about enriching our entire approach. The conversation shifted towards potential projects, with Ilara discussing challenges and asking for Lydia's input on hypothetical scenarios. As the interview drew to a close, Ilara stood and extended her hand. Thank you, Lydia. I'll discuss your application with my team, but I must say, I'm quite optimistic. Lydia, feeling a surge of relief and satisfaction, shook Ilara's hand firmly. Thank you, Ilara. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Leaving the building, Lydia felt a renewed sense of purpose. The interview had not only gone well, but it had also sparked a genuine excitement for what might come next. She looked forward to telling Max about her day, hopeful about the prospect of their new life on Zila Prime. Chapter 3. A Chance Offer. After the interview, Lydia waited anxiously for any communication from Ilaratech. A few days later, while she was preparing dinner in their small apartment, her communicator buzzed. Max, who had been doing homework at the kitchen table, looked up eagerly. "Is that them, Mom?" he asked, his eyes wide with anticipation. Lydia checked the message. "Yes, it's from Ilaratech. They want me to come in tomorrow. It sounds like good news." "That's awesome. I told you they'd like you," Max exclaimed, his face lighting up. The next morning, Lydia returned to Elara Tech, her spirits high. She was greeted at the front desk by Tom, who seemed even more cheerful than last time. "Good morning, Lydia. Elara asked me to bring you straight to her office. She's eager to speak with you," Tom said as he led the way. When they arrived at Elara's office, the CEO was already waiting for her, a serene smile on her face. "Lydia, please come in. Have a seat." Elara gestured to the same chairs as before. "Thank you, Elara. I'm hoping this is good news," Lydia asked, trying to contain her excitement. Elara nodded. "Yes, it is. We were very impressed with your interview and the insights you shared. I've discussed it with my team, and we would like to offer you a position here at Elara Tech. We believe your skills and perspective will be invaluable to our projects." Lydia felt a rush of relief and happiness. "Thank you so much, Elara. I'm thrilled to accept the offer. When can I start?" "We'd like you to start next week. There's a project that I think will be perfect for your skills," Elara explained. "But there's more I want to discuss about how we can integrate you into the team effectively." At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and a man entered the office. He was another human, with a friendly face and an engineer's badge on his lapel. "Lydia, this is Michael, one of our senior engineers. He'll be your immediate supervisor," Elara introduced. Michael extended his hand warmly. "Pleased to meet you, Lydia. I've heard great things. Welcome to the team." "Thank you, Michael. I'm looking forward to working with you all," Lydia replied, shaking his hand. Michael smiled. "Let's give you a little tour of your new workspace and introduce you to some of the folks you'll be working with. We're all excited to have a new perspective aboard." As they walked through the corridors, Michael explained the current projects and the team's dynamics. Lydia listened intently, asking questions and already making mental notes on how she could contribute. "We have a diverse team here," Michael said, "and we're not just talking about species diversity. Every person brings a unique set of skills and experiences, which is what makes this place special." They stopped at a lab where a group of engineers, both human and alien, were discussing a holographic display that wasn't functioning properly. "Lydia, meet the team," Michael announced. The group paused their discussion and turned to greet her. A tall alien with delicate antennae smiled at Lydia. "Welcome. I'm Kira, one of the project leads. Any friend of Michael's is a friend of ours." Lydia introduced herself and briefly mentioned her background in tech development, which sparked a lively conversation about potential solutions for the holographic display issue. As they brainstormed, Lydia felt a profound sense of belonging. Her ideas were met with enthusiasm and respect, and she could see her future with Elara Tech taking shape, filled with opportunities and challenges. Later, as Lydia and Michael walked back to the office, she thanked him for the warm welcome. "Thank you, Michael, for making me feel so welcomed. I'm excited to start and contribute to the team," Lydia said genuinely. "We're just as excited to have you," Michael replied. "See you Monday, Lydia, and welcome aboard." As Lydia left Elara Tech that day, her heart was full of optimism. She couldn't wait to share the news with Max and start her new journey, contributing to a world where her skills could shine and make a real difference. Chapter 4. Building Bridges. Lydia's first week at Elara Tech was a whirlwind of introductions, learning new systems, and integrating into her new team. The blend of alien and human technologies presented a steep learning curve, but Lydia was up for the challenge. Her excitement was palpable as she dove into her work with a passionate intensity. On Monday morning, Michael approached Lydia with an outline of her first major project, a collaborative effort to develop a multi-species interface that would enhance communication between different alien technologies. "Lydia, here's the project brief," Michael said, handing her a tablet filled with data and initial design concepts. We're trying to bridge gaps not just in technology, but in communication. It's ambitious, but I believe your background in human-centric designs could be pivotal here. Lydia scanned the documents, her mind racing with ideas. This looks fascinating, Michael. I see a few areas where human interface principles could simplify interactions. Perhaps, integrating intuitive gestures common across species could be a starting point. Exactly what I was hoping you'd say, Michael replied with a grin. I've scheduled a meeting with the project team tomorrow. It'll be a brainstorming session, so bring all your ideas. The next day, Lydia and Michael sat in a conference room filled with team members from various departments. As the meeting began, Lydia presented her initial thoughts, emphasizing the need for simplicity and inclusivity in the design. Think about how children learn to communicate, Lydia suggested. They start with simple gestures and expressions. If we can mimic this natural progression in our interface, it might make the technology more accessible to all species. A soft murmur of agreement went around the room. Kira, who was also part of the team, nodded appreciatively. I like that approach. On Golorin, we use a series of tactile feedback mechanisms that could complement your idea, Lydia. It's about building on commonalities rather than focusing on differences. The discussion evolved into a lively exchange of ideas, with team members contributing insights from their own experiences and cultural backgrounds. Michael facilitated the discussion, ensuring everyone's voices were heard. Let's also consider the ergonomics involved, suggested an alien team member named Torek. Each species has different physical interactions with technology. Maybe Lydia could help us standardize controls that adjust dynamically. Lydia was quick to sketch some ideas on a digital board. We could use scalable interface elements that adjust to the user's limb configuration. Like this. She demonstrated a few swipes and adjustments, showing how the interface could morph responsively. The team watched, impressed with her quick conceptualization. That's brilliant, Torek said. It not only addresses usability but also enhances comfort, reducing strain. As the meeting wrapped up, Michael pulled Lydia aside. Great work today. You're really making an impact here, Lydia. Thanks, Michael, Lydia responded, feeling a sense of accomplishment. I'm just glad to be part of something so innovative. Later that week, Lydia and Michael decided to visit a local tech exhibition to see if they could gather more ideas for their project. Walking through the exhibition, they discussed various technologies on display, considering how they could be adapted or improved. See this neural interface? Michael pointed to a display. What if we integrated something similar into our project, but made it adaptable across species? Think of the inclusivity that would bring. Lydia examined the interface, her mind buzzing with possibilities. We could design it to adjust based on neurological patterns rather than just physical interaction. It would truly be a universal design. Their conversation continued as they moved through the exhibition, each display sparking new ideas and perspectives. By the time they left, Lydia had a notebook full of potential adaptations and innovations. Walking back to the office, Lydia felt more connected to her work and her new home than ever before. She and Michael had not only shared a productive day, but had built a rapport that bridged their professional and personal lives, strengthening their collaboration and friendship. Thanks for today, Michael. I feel like we're on the brink of something really special with this project, Lydia said, her eyes reflecting the city lights. Absolutely, Michael agreed. And I'm glad we're doing this together. Let's make something amazing, Lydia. As they parted ways, Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude and excitement for the future, energized by the challenges and possibilities ahead. Chapter 5. A Celebration Misunderstood. 3 months had passed since Lydia began her journey at Ilara Tech, and the project was now in full swing. The multi-species interface was shaping up to be a groundbreaking innovation, drawing interest from across the sector. To celebrate the project's progress and foster further collaboration, Ilara organized a company-wide gathering. "Tonight's about relaxing and enjoying our collective efforts," Ilara explained to Lydia as they walked towards the venue. "It's also a great opportunity to network with some of our key stakeholders." Lydia nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I'm looking forward to it, Ilara. It sounds like a perfect way to unwind and bond with the team." As they arrived, the venue was vibrant with life, filled with Ilara Tech employees and their guests, representing a variety of species and cultures. The room buzzed with conversations, laughter, and music that was both strange and captivating. Michael found Lydia mingling near a display of alien artifacts that were part of the evening's cultural showcase. "Lydia, come meet some of our board members and investors. They're eager to learn more about your role in the project." Lydia followed him to a small group of distinguished-looking individuals. "This is Lydia, the human engineer who's been instrumental in the interface project," Michael introduced. The investors, a mix of humans and aliens, greeted her warmly. One of them, a high-ranking Golaran official, extended what Lydia assumed was a gesture of greeting, holding out a delicate, feathery limb. Misreading the gesture, Lydia reached out and shook the limb like a human hand. The room fell silent. The Golaran's eyes widened in surprise, and an awkward pause ensued. Michael quickly stepped in. "Ah, it's a common human greeting to shake hands." Lydia meant no offense, of course. The Golaran official, recovering from his initial shock, chuckled softly. "No harm done. It's always interesting to see how our customs mix. Let's perhaps start with a simpler greeting next time." Lydia apologized, feeling her cheeks warm with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend. It's my first time attending such a diverse gathering." The official was forgiving. "No need to apologize. It's a learning experience for us all. Tell me more about your work on the project. I hear it's quite revolutionary." Lydia seized the opportunity to shift the focus, explaining the technical aspects and the collaborative nature of their work. The conversation gradually eased back into a friendly exchange, with other members of the group joining in to discuss technological integration and future possibilities. Later, Michael and Lydia stepped aside for a moment. "That was a close call," Michael whispered. "But you handled it well." "Thanks for stepping in," Lydia replied, still embarrassed. "I guess I still have a lot to learn about interstellar etiquette." "Don't worry about it. Everyone knows you meant well. Besides, it's these little hiccups that make these gatherings memorable," Michael said with a grin. The rest of the evening went smoothly. Lydia engaged in more conversations, more cautious now in her interactions, but still eager to learn from the others. The event helped her understand the importance of cultural sensitivity, especially in a company as diverse as Ilara Tech. As the celebration drew to a close, Ilara approached Lydia. "I heard about the little mix-up. Don't let it bother you. It's all part of the process of integrating into a new world. You're doing great, Lydia." "Thank you, Ilara. I appreciate your support. Events like this are not only fun but truly educational for someone like me," Lydia said, smiling. "Exactly," Ilara agreed. "It's about bringing everyone together, learning from each other, and building something great. And you, Lydia, are a key part of that." As they left the venue, Lydia felt reassured and motivated, her earlier mistake now a valuable lesson in her journey. The night had deepened her appreciation for the complexity and beauty of a new environment, strengthening her resolve to contribute meaningfully to Ilara Tech and her new community. Chapter 6. Intimate Realizations. As the project neared its final stages, the team at Ilara Tech worked tirelessly. Long hours in the lab had become the norm, and Lydia often found herself staying late alongside Michael, both immersed in the intricate details of their interface design. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Michael walked into the common area holding 2 steaming mugs. "You look like you could use a break," he said, setting a mug of Zalarian chai in front of Lydia. She leaned back in her chair and sighed. "Thanks, Michael. I think I've been staring at these calibration logs for so long they're starting to blur together." Michael chuckled and sat down across from her. "You've been doing incredible work, Lydia. This project wouldn't be where it is without you." She smiled, grateful for the compliment. "It's a team effort, but I appreciate that. Honestly, I didn't think I'd find my place so quickly when I came here. It's been overwhelming, but in a good way." Michael leaned forward, his expression softening. "You've adapted faster than most people I've seen in your situation, and you've brought a perspective we didn't even realize we were missing." Lydia looked down at her mug, her fingers tracing its rim. "I just hope it's enough. This project is so much bigger than anything I've worked on before." "It is," Michael agreed. "But big projects like this are built on moments like these. Late nights, cups of tea, and the people who stick with it no matter what." Their eyes met, and for a moment the hum of the lab's machinery faded into the background. Lydia felt a warmth she hadn't experienced in a long time, a connection that went beyond professional camaraderie. Breaking the silence, Michael stood and gestured towards the observation deck. "Come on. You've earned a break. Let's check out the stars." Curious, Lydia followed him. The observation deck was one of her favorite parts of the building, a wide, open space with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a stunning view of Zila Prime's twin moons and the bustling city below. Michael leaned against the railing, looking out at the view. "I always come up here when I need to clear my head. There's something grounding about looking at all this and realizing how small we are in the grand scheme of things." Lydia joined him, her eyes following the streaks of light from passing ships. "It's beautiful," she said softly. "Back on Earth, I used to look up at the stars and wonder what it would be like to be out here. Now that I'm here, it still feels surreal." Michael turned to face her. "You're making it real, Lydia. What we're doing here, it's going to change lives. And you're at the heart of it." She looked at him, caught off guard by the sincerity in his voice. "I don't know what to say to that," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "You don't have to say anything," Michael replied, his gaze steady. After a moment, he reached out, his hand brushing hers on the railing. Lydia felt her heart race, the simple touch igniting a flurry of emotions she hadn't let herself feel in years. She turned her hand over, letting his fingers intertwine with hers. "I didn't expect to feel this way," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Neither did I," Michael admitted. "But it's not something I want to ignore." They stood there for a moment, the city lights reflecting in their eyes. Slowly, Michael leaned in, and Lydia didn't pull away. Their lips met in a gentle kiss, a tentative step into uncharted territory. When they pulled back, Lydia let out a small laugh. "I didn't see this coming." Michael smiled, his hand still holding hers. "Neither did I, but I'm glad it did." They spent the rest of the evening on the observation deck, talking about everything and nothing, their connection deepening with each passing moment. For the first time in a long time, Lydia felt a sense of peace and belonging, a feeling she hadn't realized she was missing. As they left the building together, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the universe itself approved of the path they were beginning to walk. Chapter 7. Shared Strengths. A week after their night on the observation deck, Lydia and Michael's bond continued to grow. Their professional partnership had always been strong, but now there was a layer of personal trust and understanding that made their collaboration feel effortless. As the interface project approached its final phase, the entire team felt the pressure mounting. Lydia stood at her workstation, studying a cluster of error logs that had cropped up overnight. Despite hours of troubleshooting, the system still wasn't responding as expected. Michael approached her with a cup of coffee. "I've got good news and bad news. Which do you want first?" Lydia sighed, rubbing her temples. "Let's start with the bad news. Rip the bandage off." He handed her the coffee. "Our primary supplier has delayed shipment on a key component for the interface. We're looking at a 2-week delay." Lydia groaned. "You're kidding me. 2 weeks?" Michael shook his head. "I wish I were. Ilara's already trying to pull some strings to expedite it, but there's no guarantee." Lydia took a sip of the coffee, letting the warmth spread through her hands. "What's the good news?" Michael grinned. "We have a backup plan. Kira and I were discussing a workaround using some older components we already have on hand. It's not perfect, but it'll keep us on track for testing. You up for trying it out?" "Definitely," Lydia said. "Let's get started." The two of them spent the next several hours working side by side in the lab. Michael retrieved the older components and showed Lydia how to integrate them into the current system. She quickly grasped the concept, and they fell into a natural rhythm, exchanging ideas and solving problems as a team. "I have to admit," Lydia said as she connected the final component, "it's kind of fun figuring out these puzzles with you." Michael chuckled. "You mean the part where we're held together by duct tape and sheer willpower?" She laughed. "Exactly. It's like engineering by the seat of our pants. But I have a feeling we'll pull through." As the system came back online, they ran the first series of tests. To their relief, the backup components worked seamlessly. While the final configuration would need the delayed shipment, they had a stable platform to keep moving forward. "Nice work," Michael said, giving her a fist bump. "You're a natural at this." Lydia smiled. "I've had some good guidance." Their partnership wasn't just about professional success. It was about mutual respect and shared goals. They pushed each other to be better, and it showed in their results. Even when obstacles arose, they tackled them together, never letting the stress dampen their resolve. As the day wore on, Michael suggested a break. "You know what we need? Food. Real food, not the vending machine stuff." Lydia laughed. "You mean those mystery protein bars aren't good enough for you?" "Not if we're going to survive this project," Michael said. "Come on, there's a place down the street that makes amazing noodles." "My treat." "Sounds good to me," Lydia agreed, grateful for the chance to unwind. They walked to a small, cozy diner that was popular among the Ilaratech staff. Over bowls of steaming noodles, they talked about everything from work to their lives back on Earth. "So," Michael began, swirling his noodles, "I know you mentioned you and Max have been settling in pretty well, but how's he handling everything?" Lydia smiled. "He's adjusting faster than I expected. I think the diversity here has been good for him. He's made friends with kids from all over. He's even learning bits of Goloran language from one of his classmates." "That's awesome," Michael said. "It sounds like he's got a bright future here." Lydia nodded. "He does. I just want to make sure I can keep building a life for him that's stable. That's why this job means so much to me." "Well, I think you're doing a great job so far," Michael said earnestly. "Max is lucky to have you." The warmth in his words made Lydia's cheeks flush. "Thanks, Michael. That means a lot." They continued to talk, their conversation flowing easily. By the time they finished their meal, Lydia felt more at ease than she had in months. It wasn't just the food, It was the company, the connection she was building with someone who understood her challenges and shared her vision for the future. Back at the lab, they returned to their work with renewed energy. The sense of partnership between them was undeniable, a blend of professional respect and personal care that made the long hours feel less like a grind and more like a shared adventure. They weren't just colleagues. They were a team, and together they were stronger than the sum of their parts. Chapter 8. Acceptance and New Beginnings. The final weeks of the project were a whirlwind of activity. Lydia and Michael worked side by side, refining the interface design and ensuring every component was ready for the upcoming launch. The entire team felt the pressure, but there was also a sense of excitement. After months of effort, they were on the verge of achieving something extraordinary. One afternoon, as Lydia pored over the final set of code reviews, Michael approached her with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "You look like you could use a caffeine boost," he said, setting 1 cup on her desk. Lydia looked up with a grateful smile. "Thanks, Michael. I think I might be seeing numbers in my sleep at this point." "Well, you've earned a break," he said, pulling up a chair next to her. "Besides, we need to talk about the final demo. Ilara wants us both to present. Are you ready?" Lydia leaned back and took a sip of the coffee. "I think so. I'm a little nervous, but we've rehearsed enough times that it should go smoothly." "You'll do great," Michael reassured her. "Just remember, you know this project inside and out. No one's better equipped to explain it." His words of encouragement steadied her nerves. She knew he was right. They had worked tirelessly together, and she had contributed ideas and solutions that were crucial to the project's success. With Michael's support, Lydia felt confident that she could handle the presentation. When the day of the demo arrived, the entire team gathered in the large conference hall. Investors, stakeholders, and members of the press filled the room, creating a hum of anticipation. Lydia stood at the front of the stage with Michael, the prototype interface glowing behind them. "Ready?" Michael whispered as they prepared to step onto the stage. Lydia took a deep breath. "Ready." The presentation began, with Michael leading the introduction and explaining the technical foundation of the interface. Then Lydia stepped forward, her voice steady as she walked the audience through the user experience, highlighting the intuitive design and the system's ability to adapt to different species' needs. As they demonstrated the interface's features, the audience responded with enthusiastic applause. By the end of the presentation, it was clear that their months of hard work had paid off. Investors expressed their interest, and Ilara congratulated them both on a job well done. After the demo, the team celebrated with a small gathering in the office lounge. Lydia and Michael stood to the side, watching as their colleagues shared laughs and toasted their success. "You know," Michael said, holding up his glass of sparkling water, "when we started this project, I knew we were working on something special. But I didn't realize just how much I'd gain personally. Working with you, Lydia, has been... well, it's changed my perspective on a lot of things." Lydia smiled, clinking her glass against his. "I could say the same, Michael. I didn't expect to find this kind of connection, both professionally and personally. I'm really glad we took this journey together." They both took a sip, the unspoken understanding between them deepening. The celebration carried on around them, but in that moment, it felt like the rest of the world faded away. As the evening wound down, Ilara approached them with a warm smile. "Lydia, Michael, I want to thank you both for your incredible work. This project has set a new standard for what we can achieve at Ilara Tech. I hope you'll both continue to bring your talents to future projects." "Thank you, Ilara," Lydia said. "It's been an honor to be part of this team." Ilara nodded. "You've both done something truly remarkable here. Enjoy tonight. You've earned it." When the gathering finally came to an end, Michael walked Lydia to the building's main entrance. The city lights glimmered in the distance, and the cool evening breeze carried a sense of new beginnings. "Any plans for the weekend?" Michael asked casually, his hands in his pockets. Lydia shrugged. "I promised Max we'd explore the park on the other side of the city. He's been dying to check out those massive tree-like structures." Michael chuckled. "Sounds like fun. Maybe I'll join you, if that's okay." Lydia looked at him, surprised but pleased. "Max would love that. And so would I." They exchanged a smile, and for a moment the challenges of the past months felt far behind. The future was uncertain, but Lydia knew one thing for sure. She wasn't facing it alone. With Max, Michael, and the team at Elara Tech, she had built a life she never could have imagined, and the possibilities ahead felt endless.